Okay, so we're going to talk about Madison and Khia, right? And I'm not going to talk about the Queen's Court versus the Supreme Court and all that stuff that you guys are probably tired of hearing about. I just want to talk about a couple of things that I feel like have not been addressed in all the videos that I've seen on YouTube. So the first thing I want to talk about is the gag order. Khia. Khia. I'm telling you right now, this show is an embarrassment and it is causing harm to irreparable harm to your brand. I mean, the way. Okay, first of all, before I talk about that, let me say this: when the Queen's Court disbanded about maybe what 3 months ago, 2 months. I don't know how long it's been. It seems like yesterday, but at the same time, it seems like it's been a while. Um, when it disbanded, I was primarily concerned for Madison because I'm saying Khia was doing the heavy lifting on this show. Madison does not have, in my opinion, at that time, did not have the chops to carry a show on her own. So I'm thinking to myself, if Khia leaves this show and goes on her own, because when you looked at the sound bites, that were being pulled from different shows, every single time it was what Kaya was saying. I don't think I've ever heard anything controversial or anything sensational that was being played from Madison. So for that reason, to a large degree, I'm like, okay, well, Madison is riding Kaya's coattails to some degree. So I was just like, okay, if they separate, then Kaya's gonna blow up because now she can just go all in. Now, so I watched the first couple episodes of Gag Order, and this is back when she was doing it in her chambers. And the first couple of episodes, she spent probably like the first 5 episodes talking about how much she hated Madison, how Madison dogged her, how Madison was no good, how Madison was a Mandy man whore, and you know, and I'm like, all right, you're in your feelings, I get it. So I'm gonna give you a couple episodes to get that out your system. So episode number one, she came across like the angry black woman. I was like, okay, she's in her feelings, so we're gonna give her a pass. Episode number two, same thing. Episode number three, same thing. And then it was funny because it's like, you would expect for her to soften as the time passed and for things to get better and smooth out, but absolutely not. She became angrier with every single episode. And by episode number three, I was checked out. I'm like, you know what? I can't do this just because I'm not going to support this type of hate speech. And that's to me, that's really what it amounted to. So I'm like, I can't sit here and watch this because even through my viewership, I am sort of passively supporting this sort of hate speech. So at that point, I decided it was time for me to go left if she was going right, or go right if she was going left. I just knew that we weren't going in the same direction. So that was it for me. So it was really when she started calling Madison Mandy man whore, and I'm just looking at her like, damn, wasn't she just your sis last week? Like, anybody who has a tendency to fall out with somebody that quick is just really somebody I personally couldn't ride with. Now, if she's making good videos, I'm still gonna watch the videos. I just couldn't F with you in real life. If I was around you and we still had some semblance of a relationship, I definitely would have shifted the way I dealt with you based on seeing your interaction because you can't be friends with somebody one day and then be their arch enemy. People fall out, but if you fall out, if you're not cool, let's just not be cool. But we don't have to throw each other under the bus. And so I saw in that particular instance, it felt like Madison was trying to take the high road, and Kaya just pulled the gloves off, right? So I watched a couple of episodes. And like I said, it was just dark. It was heavy to me. It wasn't entertaining. It was just like bitter and acrimonious. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, she is really causing irreparable damage to her brand, and I don't even know if she realizes that because she was so blinded by hate. So because of the videos that she made and because of a lot of the hateful things that she said, not even the things that she said disparaging Madison in particular, it was just things that she was saying that were sort of anti LGBTQIA. It was a lot of hate speech in what she was saying. And resulting from that, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all of these channels that really try to mitigate the content started deleting her account. Now, rather than have a real conversation with herself and sit down and say, well, damn, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I took it too far. You know, what Khia does, Khia has to be, she's 100% right. She's one of those people who never, ever, ever makes mistakes. So you're never going to hear apology from her. And I'm sorry. She's always going to try to find a way to spin it and make it seem like what she's saying and doing is okay. So she's like, well, punks aren't this because they're that. Basically saying that no one is excluded from her wrath, from her tirades. Basically, if you want smoke, you can get smoke. Is what she was. It's pretty much what she was saying. Anybody can get it, and so that includes you punks. That was pretty much what she was saying. And punks is probably one of the nicer words that she was using, and so as a result of that, she dropped f bombs and trannies this and um I mean, she said some pretty disturbing things, honestly, and a lot of it has been purged from my consciousness, so I cannot repeat it. And even if I could, I wouldn't care to repeat it. But she said some things that were very, very hateful, and so YouTube and Facebook and Instagram said, "All right, enough is enough." So they shut down, deleted, suspended accounts, or whatever. Now, there's another component to this, right? So when Madison and Khia got into it, Michelle Brown from the AT Alien, she started injecting herself into this drama between Madison and Khia. Now, I have 20/20 vision, so I could see perfectly clear what this woman was attempting to do. And basically, her goal was to capitalize on what's happening between Madison and Khia, right? And I'm not here to judge her. She's a businesswoman. She's out to get a coin, so go ahead, get your coin. If you see an opportunity to get a bag, get a bag. So she starts basically sort of sending these subliminal messages to Khia through YouTube, right? Through her videos. So she's trying to let Khia know without saying it directly, hey girl, I'm on your side, get at me, right? So Khia takes the bait, which is probably the dumbest thing she could have done. So Khia takes the bait, and suddenly now they form this partnership. Khia and Michelle Brown against T.S. Madison and against the LGBTQIA community, right? So it's women versus gays. It's basically what it's amounted to, which is so ridiculous to me. So that's basically what they were trying to say. It's us versus them. And even though to some degree it was about the gays, it was more so about the trans women that they were laser focused on. So, Michelle Brown has her issues with the LGBTQIA community as a result of her relationship or past relationship with Funky Dineva, and Funky Dineva roasted her, talked about, her hygiene and how her box was, corrupt. And, so Funky Dineva threw her under the bus. And I guess ever since that time, Michelle Brown has felt some kind of way about the LGBTQ community. And this is what I don't understand, right? If you have beef with somebody, have beef with that somebody. There is no need to throw hate and daggers at an entire community of people. That's what you don't do. Okay, so like if I'm mad at a white person, I'm not just going to just generically just go out and just sort of talk about white devils and some of the things that I hear people do, because I know some black devils. So I know I've lived long enough to know that you cannot sort of just disenfranchise or throw an entire community under a bus and act as if they're all evil because of your experiences with one. And I think that's a mistake. And I think that's ultimately what led to Khia's accounts being deleted, shut down, closed, suspended, whatever happened to them. All of this is directly attributed to Khia's own doing. Now, rather than sitting in that, and this is what I was talking about earlier when I was mentioning Khia not being willing to apologize, rather than having a real conversation, rather than internalizing what's happening and saying, let me look inward for answers and stop projecting outwards, she decided, Michelle, and then I'm guessing this was this was based on Michelle's direction, to go ahead and file an injunction against Madison, right? And the injunction was based on the fact that she believed that Madison was having her accounts deleted. Now, Madison has a lot of power out there, right? But does she really have the power to go to? Does Madison have a hotline to Facebook? Does Madison have a hotline to Google? who owns YouTube. Does Madison have a hotline directly to Instagram? I think not. She doesn't. Madison didn't have these accounts shut down, girl. You had these accounts shut down. This is your own doing. This is your own influence. This is your ego. Your ego caused these accounts to be shut down because you felt like you were hating on an already marginalized community that no one would stand up, no one would speak up because what you said was not just directed to Madison. Had it been simply about you and Madison, the accounts may not have been shut down. I cannot guarantee that specifically, but what I do know is that when you made those videos, you just didn't offend Madison. You offended a lot of people, and all of them were not just gay people or LGBTQIA people. You offended some straight people, some heterosexual people. You know, we live in a world, right? We live in a climate, especially in this Donald Trump era, where people are just sick of this type of speech, sick of this type of hate. And more importantly, people are sick of people who think that this type of speech is okay. So when your account gets shut down, you can't look at other people, and have Michelle Brown sending you down a yellow brick road to nowhere, thinking that you're going to have some sort of recourse based on what you've created, because it's just a simple matter of the judge pressing play on one of your videos. I don't know if that happened when they went to court, but if the judge heard wind of what she was saying on YouTube, then he would know instantly that the reason her accounts were shut down was because she shut them down through her actions. And it just boggles my mind that now that this happened, she went on, so they went to court, right? And after court, her and Michelle Brown made these videos. And Madison made a video too where she was basically saying no weapon formed against Michelle Prosper and, invoking all of these sort of biblical scriptures. And Khia was, basically continuing to hate, continuing on this woman versus gays thing, which it's crazy to me. Now at the same time, she has like a gay dude sitting next to her, and I'm looking at this dude like there has to be something wrong with you. There has to be something wrong with you. Like when I look at the gay dude who hangs out with Michelle Brown, all I can think of is Samuel L. Jackson and Django. Like this gay version of an Uncle Tom blows my mind that you're sitting there with these women watching them disparage or co-signing their disparagement of a community that you're directly a part of, sitting there sipping cocktails, and you don't have the presence of mind to A, correct them on some of the things that they're saying, or B, not be seen on film. Because if it's about about a bag and you're there to get a bag, okay, I can't judge you because maybe there's some sort of method to your madness where you see hanging out with Michelle and Khia as a means to an end, and you're trying to get your brand where it needs to be so that you can capitalize on whatever they're building. Okay, I get that because sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. So I can ride with that, but he doesn't just sit there. I forget what his name is. I think it's Josh or something. He actually chimes in on some of the stuff that they're saying. I heard him misgendering Madison and doing a lot of other crazy things. So I don't know. But anyway, so Khia, she created this gag order, right? So, well, her and Michelle Brown decided to reformat the gag order because the one in the chambers just wasn't working. All the technical glitches that she complained about when she was on the Queen's Court persisted on her new format. So there was a bunch of technical glitches that she was having. And it was just bad. It wasn't funny. What I realized, and this is to take it back to them separating. What I realized when Madison left the show, or when they split, was that Khia really needed that comic relief that Madison provided because by herself she was just angry and not entertaining at all. All of the spice was gone, and I will admit this, right? Because I watched Khia before she and Madison had ever gotten together. It definitely seemed like there was a different energy about her before versus after Madison. So I watched the Queen's Court in the Chambers, and it was the same thing, same hate. Um, it was just more of the same thing. So she got with Michelle Brown, and Michelle Brown decided, okay, well, let me figure out how I can get a coin out of this. So she decides to sort of become a quasi manager for Khia, And Khia falls for the okie doke because she's been hearing Michelle Brown kissing her ass through YouTube, and that's what she likes. She likes to ass kiss her, and Michelle Brown is happy to do that because Michelle Brown doesn't mind kissing a little ass for a bag of cash. And Kaya's just receiving it, and they're sissing and having cocktails and instant best friends. And I'm like, this is who you're instant best friends with, Michelle. And so I'm looking at Michelle Brown like, girl, you are so dumb. But then I had this epiphany. I was like, no, Kaya, girl, you are so dumb. This woman is playing you like a violin, and you have signed up to be her puppet, and she is pulling your strings and getting and using you for your brand and helping to grow her platform and grow her visibility, and you don't even have the presence of mind to see that. Because see, it was the reverse when Kaya was with Madison. Madison had the larger platform, and Madison helped to elevate Kaya to a much stronger internet presence, right? And so now that Madison and Kaya are no longer together, Kaya still has those numbers underneath her as a result of that relationship from being with Madison. So Michelle Brown sees an opportunity, so she decides to hitch herself to Kaya's wagon, right? So now she creates this show at the Ivy, I think, in Atlanta, right? So I'm like, okay, this could be interesting. Let's see how this goes. So once again, episode one, and this is what I don't get about this whole gag order live thing, right? Conceptually, I think there's some good things about it, and I think there's some bad things about it, right? I just don't think that they've thought it through. I think they're making an emotional reaction, right? They're making a business decision with an emotional mind, and what they're trying to do is to be the first one out the gate, right? And to be the best one out the gate. So rather than really thinking the show through in a very contrived way, in a very calculated way that's going to really, really benefit them, they're out to prove, look, I'm still standing. I'm better than Madison. Look how great we are. They have a point to prove, and they're proving the wrong point. The point shouldn't be trying to make a point to Madison. The point should be trying to prove to the audience that I'm a better show than I used to be. Trying to beat yourself. Stop focusing on Madison. So they create the show at the Ivy, Gag Order Live, right? So the Gag Order Live has, and she's charging people, I think she said $100 to get in. Now, come on, you guys. Are you really paying money? I'm telling you, I work too hard for my money to give $100 away to Kaya for a whole lot, for something I can watch on YouTube. Why would I pay you $100? What are you doing that's worth $100? Okay. Now, if I'm in a generous mood, I might be willing to give you $10 or $15. But what you're not going to do is get $100, not about it this purse, not on any given day. So I think it was a ridiculous business model for them to create in the first place. Who's giving Kaya $100? Seriously? Now, I know I saw the live with her and Michelle and people were donating $100, but guess what? All of those people were out from outside of Atlanta for the most part, right? So if you're trying to do a show in Atlanta, right? Let's say you're Beyonce, right? Let's take Kaya out the equation. Let's say you're Beyonce and you live in Atlanta, and you decide that you're going to do a show every Monday night, and you're going to charge members $100. Now, even if you're Beyonce, right, and you live in Atlanta, the core base of your audience for that show is going to be built up of people who live directly there in that vicinity, right? Now, you're going to have your hardcore Beyonce fans who come from Europe and other parts of the country and other parts of the world to see the show because they're just that dedicated. But at some point, it's because you're doing it every single week, it's going to stop being special. And people are going to start saying, well, girl, I don't feel like going to see Beyonce this week because I have better things to do with my $100. I'll catch her next time because I know she's there every Monday, so I'm not in a rush to see her anymore. So you wind up shooting yourself in the foot by doing it that way. A, you're charging me $100? Are you serious? So I think what Kaya should have done was allow people to come into the show for free. Don't charge these people anything. Work out the bar looks like it's struggling already. They don't have anybody up in there. So let's let people in for free and let's get a cut of the bar. That's how it should have worked, right? But that's if you have a business mind. And then as the business grows and you see that the people are coming out, then you start creating a VIP section. Okay, so now you have a VIP section. Now you can charge a cut of that, or that money is your money on top of your cut of the bar. But what you're not going to do is charge people $100 to come in and expect to have a packed house for Khia, for my neck and my back. Who's coming to see that and pay $100? It is so ridiculous to me. So I say all this to say she had episode number 1 of the Gag Order Live. It was riddled with technical glitches once again. Not only was it riddled with technical glitches, on top of that, it was like 6 people in the house. Now I'm being a little hyperbolic when I say 6 people. I'm gonna. It was roughly about 20 people, and I'm not kidding when I say that. About 20 people in the house. Now she's been promoting it left and right. The Gag Order Live. Email me for tickets. This, that, and the third. I suppose nobody was emailing because it was. I'm telling you, it was echoing in there. So she creates this Gag Order and we'll reduce the numbers from 20 to maybe about 15 because about 5 of the people in there, well, we're going to do it to about 13. So we had about 3 people who were staff, and then we had Michelle Brown and her cohorts. So in essence, some of the people who were there were not actually patrons of the show. A lot of these people who were there had gotten in for free because they were working or supporting Khia. So it was actually even more sparse than it appeared on camera because a lot of these people were just seat fillers there to help make it look a little bit more populated than it actually was. So shows has all these technical glitches. I'm just sitting here watching it, shaking my head like this is bad, right? So then I'm like waiting for the next episode. The next episode never comes. So yesterday she uploaded the next episode, and you guys, I'm telling you, this time it was literally like 5 people. 5 people at this show. 5 people. Count them. One. I'll wait. 2, 3, 4, 5. Literally 5 people. And once again, if you do the math and you subtract the people that were there as supporters, because Michelle Brown was there again, and there's this other girl there that was there, she may have had about maybe 3 people who were, I guess, genuinely there to support her. It was empty. And I know that has to be crushing to her ego. I know it has to, but she won't let on to that. And I get it. Sometimes you can't show your poker face. So you have to show your poker face, I should say. So I get it. But what I'm saying is, she needs to put a silver bullet in the show. It's time to put the show to bed, right? Or at the very least reformat it because the live thing is just not working for her. And at this point, I think that even doing YouTube videos and Facebook and Instagram videos, I think it just may not be in her wheelhouse anymore. Or she's going to have to really take a break, think about what she's going to do, stop speaking off the cuff, because it's not even funny anymore. It's not even funny. I used to laugh and crack up when I was watching Queen's Court at some of the things that came out of her mouth. I can't tell you the last time I've had a genuine, not even a chuckle. It's just not funny. It's sad to watch. And you're watching her. I mean, like, I feel like Roberta Flack. She's killing me softly. Like, she's dying a slow death and she's trying to take me along for the ride. And I'm not ready to go. So I'm jumping off this wagon. I'm unhitching. I'm telling you right now, Khia, it's time for you to stop, take a look at what you're doing, reformat it, come up with a different strategy, maybe even apologize, like humble yourself. Maybe that's where you start, get you some of that Kendrick Lamar, be humble, and realize, like, you can't, you cannot offend people and then expect them to support you, because a lot of the people that you call sissies, punks, and the f bombs and all the things that you call people would have been the same people standing in line at that club. The same people standing in line. You can say what you will about the LGBTQIA community, but they support their divas. Beyonce, Janet, Toni Braxton, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, you name any successful female singer, Mary J. Blige, and their gay audience is going to be the audience that sustains them a long time. When the mainstream audience has left the building, right, and they're struggling to pay their rent, that Gloria Gaynor to this day could go to any gay club in the country and shut the function down and get paid and take a nice bag home with her. And she will forever be able to do that because the gay community is a very loyal community. And the gay community has so much disposable income that they're able to do a lot of things that their heterosexual contemporaries would not be able to do because they're not paying for college tuitions. They're not raising children. And I mean, some are buying houses, but the point that I'm making is a lot of the traditional responsibilities that you'd have when you're creating a family, people who are LGBTQIA don't have those same responsibilities because they're not creating families in a lot of cases, and therefore they have more of a disposable income. So you alienated the very people who could have potentially helped you to grow that particular business format that you were trying to create. But rather than humbling yourself and going on an apology tour, because that's what you should have done, you decided to sort of stand firm in what you were saying. And I get it. Like, if you want to stand behind that, you stand behind that. But there's some things you don't stand behind. Some things you move out the way. And this is one of those things I think that she should have definitely apologized for. Not that at this point, I don't think the apology would do much good because I feel like it's irreparably broken, but I think that it couldn't hurt to at least try. Um, so that the gag order, I don't see it going anywhere. Honestly, and this is not me being a hater. This is not me just being a staunch supporter of the LGBTQIA community. This is just me, just as a businesswoman, looking and saying, "Girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" So, anyway, and then let's talk about Madison really quick. So Madison has some work to do too, right? So she's put New York on her show, and New York is all fluff and no filler, right? She's laughing, she's high fiving, she's sissing, she's throwing her hair, tossing her hair from side to side. She's twerking, she's titty twerking, doing all the things that people like to see, and I'm sitting there like waiting for her to say something that's going to be entertaining. And week number one, New York was cute. I thought that see, I think I was more so excited to see her energy, so therefore I wasn't concerned about the content. Week two, I really stopped to say, wait a minute, she's not really saying anything. What I noticed in that particular instance was Madison was doing all the work. Madison was really working to help keep that show afloat that week. And Tiffany was just along for the ride, right? Now, I get it. I'm going to give her a pass the same way I gave Khia a pass. You just came into something new, and you're sort of filling someone's shoes and didn't really have a whole lot of time to prepare. I get it. So it's going to take you a little while to get comfortable in that role. So I'm going to give you a pass for that. But what I'm telling you, baby girl, is that don't get comfortable in thinking that, we're not watching you in a real way and that we're going to give you a pass just because you're New York. And, not not to be cliche or anything, but I love New York. Like, I think she's absolutely funny. I think her personality is great for the show, but she's just not bringing the content for me. Khia and Madison, love it or hate it, I think that if they found a way to push through and just hate each other, and just hate each other, people would be so excited to see them back together. I'm telling you, the ratings, the viewership for that show would be through the roof. Through the roof. Now, it's gonna require Khia humbling herself or Madison being willing to kiss a little ass. But I think that they're both really doing themselves a disservice because what they had is what we want, and what they have separately, neither one of them have managed to find that magic once again. I think Madison is closer to recreating it than Khia, but there's still work for Madison to do on her end too. However, what I like about Madison's show is that it's a lot more lighthearted. It's a lot more. The overall energy is just better on the Queen's Supreme Court than it is on the gag order. It's just now. Let me say this really quick about Kaya's gag order too. The most recent episode, even though no one was in the building, the camera quality was amazing. I was like, okay, I think you at least stepped your camera game up. Even though the content was garbage, the camera looked good, so I'll give her that much. Madison can work on definitely getting a better camera, definitely work on the production of her show and increasing that and getting the quality. And I've seen her doing some improvements, but like she's doing sponsorships and she's showing the products on the stairs of her home. Come on, Madison, we got to do better than that. Like, we can't get a backdrop of some sort built Like you can't show products on the carpet on the stairs at your home. Like let's elevate. We gotta do better than that, you know. Um, so there's definitely some things production wise that Madison needs to elevate too. So I'm not gonna just give Madison a complete pass and just throw Khia under the bus. Where else do I think that the Queen Supreme Court could use? I don't know. You know, when it comes to New York, like I said, I think I love the energy that she brings. I just don't know if she brings enough content. So if they're gonna have her on this show, they gotta break her down and build her back up because being loud and obnoxious and tossing your hair back from side to side is not gonna not be enough for me. I need more. You know, I need more than what you're bringing to the table. So laughing out loud and high fiving, I see through that. That's a distraction from the fact that you're not saying anything, right? Say something, you know. And if you're not funny off the cuff, write some jokes in advance. Do something. Have Chi Chi back there holding up cue cards, girl, with bullet points of things that you can say. Do something more than just tossing your hair back from side to side and titty twerking. You know, it's just, for me, it's not enough. So with that being said, you guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Make sure you comment below. Subscribe if you feel inclined. Don't subscribe if you don't feel like it. Doesn't make me any. Never mind. And I will talk to you guys again later. Peace.